Let's use the QUL as a unit of measurement. If you've never heard the QUL theory, I'm going to link it in the description so that you can stop whatever you're doing and listen to it now, because it will change your life. The post speaks for itself, so I'm going to proceed as if everybody listening has already heard it. But we're actually going to use it as a unit of measurement today, because I think the QUL theory truly works as a useful way of framing how to write allegory, in general, but specifically with science fiction. For this discussion, we're going to ignore the fact that the QUL theory is a breathtaking work of science fiction in and of itself. We're not talking about the language of the QUL theory, we're not talking about the content, as wonderful as it is. We're looking purely at the mechanism at the heart of the unit of measurement, and how that mechanism can actually help you write a story. So one QUL is one level of abstraction away from the reality of a situation. At 0 QULs, I give you a hamburger, per the original comment in audio. And at 0 QULs, you pick the subject of your story, whatever that looks like in the real world. 1 QUL is already a sort of baseline allegory. If you take your subject and disguise it so that you can explore the issue through a narrative rather than stating it outright, borderline journalism style, we're already technically one level of abstraction away from where we started. We have taken our subject and taken one step away from the reality of the situation, the baseline allegorical impulse. Let's look at current events. If you, say, wanted to explore the modern dynamics of union busting at a particular delivery company, then your baseline allegorical tale is going to abstract some of the cosmetic details, to take one step away from the reality of the situation. You change the name of the company, you change what it does. We'll change our delivery plant into a factory. Maybe they make car engines. It doesn't matter. We'll return to the factory later. But that's 1 QUL, one level of abstraction. You're creating a narrative that's sidestepping away from the reality of the situation that you want to be the subject of your story. 2 QULs is where we see more unique directions open up. Maybe the subject you're interested in exploring is the sort of borderline nihilistic mundanity of contemporary office work. At 1 QUL, your hero wakes up to go about his day at his mundane, fictional office place. At 2 QULs, the hero wakes up to go about his day at his mundane, fictional office place, but finds that he has been transformed into a cockroach. 2 QULs, for anybody who writes science fiction, is where we can really start to bring the sci-fi into the mix. Back to our union busting example, if 1 QUL was changing the cosmetics, renaming the company, changing what it is the company makes, then at 2 QULs, we import that into a science fiction milieu. We've changed the name of the company and what they do out of necessity because we are officially in the realm of total fiction here, but instead of on Earth, it takes place on an alien planet. Instead of humans, the factory is worked by that planet's indigenous species. 2 levels of abstraction away from the reality of the situation. We now have the skeletal system for a very workable science fiction story. The Neptunians, or the Greebles, or whatever you want to call them, are hard at work at the factory constructing hyperdrive engines for an ungodly amount of hours per shift. Then they leave at the end of the day to go to their secret meeting place so that they can formulate their plans to collectively bargain for more bathroom breaks and healthcare benefits. The core takeaway of all of this is that thinking about it at 2 QULs is a really great way to conceptualize a story in the realm of science fiction as social commentary, where 1 QUL changes the cosmetics and 2 QULs changes the setting, the more fun aspects of changing something real world into something science fiction world. At 3 QULs, things enter bizarre territory, and we start to lose some of the utility of the allegory, but perhaps that's for the best. Perhaps that's where the strange comes more alive. There's also something to be said for allegory that's buried more than skin deep. You want the point to be recognizable, which 1 and 2 QULs certainly will be. But if it's too easily identified, does the artifice of the story become a distraction? If it's too easy to identify that it's an allegory, does it lose a little bit of the immersion and the joy of the story? Anyways, The extent to which you dress up your allegory is up to you. At 3 QUILs, the aliens spend hours plugged into a matrix grid, controlling robotic arms that are creating these hyperdrive parts in a sort of AI humanoid alien hybrid situation.